Man, I love that course and that song from GX. Lightning is definitely one of the most memorable courses ever. Except for the half pipe, which is pretty tedious, especially when you escape from the power plant and save Jody. But this is actually about the Thunder Road in AX. Welcome back to the championship and F-Zero ending it all. Last time, Tinsel Steelers actually mastered the long jump thanks to James McLeod. Gilmore and Shio prepared themselves for the championship by using agility and misdirection. However, James McLeod turned out to be a scoundrel, and Octoman, Clank, and Captain Falcon filled in the gaps. So James McLeod has been apprehended, and now it's passed on to his son Todd, which I'll admit it's actually named from the Fox and the Hound. And the Galaxy Dogs has a new owner. And after their brief race in Port Town, it's off to the championship. Alright, please note that this isn't the final lap chapter, but rather just the championship race. We finally reach Lightning, specifically the Thunder Road circuit, which was introduced during the rare AX Cup from GX. Rick, Falcon, Tinsel, and the Huckminers have made it to the final round. Would they be able to defeat Darkmelion and seize victory? Lap 15. After a couple days of intensive non-stop training, it seemed to take its toll on Rick. He was the one who's been practicing the most and has been getting less sleep. Falcon was too, but at least he was more adaptable. Tinsel, Gilmore, and Shia watched the ardent duo closely, even when they weren't racing. He was currently at the training circuit in Mute City, and he had participated in every single one prior to this course. He was determined as ever to win the championship, rescue Rodney, and above all else, defeat Black Shadow. Tinsel, Jack, and Lucy found Rick in the Dragon's cockpit. He was having a little shut-eye, until the former rocker knocked on the windshield. Hey! Hey, Wheeler! It's time to wake up! It was almost dusk, and he'd been sleeping for only an hour. He slowly opened them with a groan. Thanks, Jack. This guy doesn't quit, does he? He's been resting less and less, and tomorrow is the championship. This can really wear him down. He may not be ready for the final challenge against Darkmelion. It is, if it is the final challenge. Rick was able to leave the Dragonbird behind, though his best friend was there to escort him in case he decided to drop. He wanted to visit Port Town at Falcon's stronghold, till there was a signal coming from Tinsel's key fob. Take a break, guys! I need you all here at the central chamber, now! It was Clank. The other pilots except the captain were waiting for the missing quartet. They arrived and the kid was as somber as ever. Gazelle was next to him. Roster for championship has been confirmed. Leon, Drac, Gomar, and Shield, Beastman, and EAD were there. Even they had grim expressions. Dad's right, you know. He went over the roll call on the large screen. It showed a list of the finalists as well as some other peculiar drivers. According to this, it seems we're not alone. There are still some opponents we weren't expecting. Dynamite Guster will be in the race. This could mean big trouble. These two never get along well. They always tend to fight each other. He and the task force remembered the last time he was chasing after him, when Goro was accused of blowing up space transport. Can't be good for Goro. He might not be able to help us. At least he could give us some leeway, so you guys may have a better chance. But that's not all. Blood Falcon will also make a return. That was disturbing news for everyone, even to the geek. It was highly unlikely since the last clone was obliterated when the team snapped Lucy out of Black Shadow's thrall. According to the rules, he should have been disqualified overall, yet somehow the F-Zero committee allowed him back in. This wasn't the strangest thing that they've ever done since the organization allowed Gomar and Shio to compete. However, this was way worse. What about the others? Are Dr. Stewart, Jody, and the Skull gonna be there? No, but Black Shadow is. What? Oh gosh. Shrek didn't like the sounds of that one bit. Wish I would be there to help demolish that demonic bastard. What are you all worried about? We have Captain Falcon, right? He can deal with them any day, anywhere. It's not that it's not that simple, Jack. Even an unstoppable Grand Prix champion has its limits. Black Shadow. At long last, I would finally race against him. I swear I'll never lose, even if we were to lose Falcon. He recalled the pep talk he had with him in his fortress, how he was suddenly aware of his mortality when he realized his greatest adversary unexpectedly returned. My main concern isn't Zoda anymore. It's him. He was the main culprit who unleashed Zoda and Miss Killer. He's the one who brainwashed us until Tinsel and the others made us return to our senses. That put Lucy, EAD, and even the boastful Jack in stunned silence. He destroyed Dr. Clash, my mentor. He nearly killed my dad. He's not really a hero anymore like we thought. Guess we all have a motive on beating him. But it's up to us finalists who can. The duelists said they'll follow us to Lightning, just in case anything should run amok. They always say that he's a racer from the Shadow Realm. How wrong they are. Then again, Yugi, and Joey misinterpreted him. Lightning of all places. Maybe violent, but that won't stop the fanatics from participating. At least it has a stadium. I've raced there before, at the Volute track, in Lost Landing. This isn't the same, Rick. Not like this. Thunder Road is a circuit that's rarely been occupied. It's also worth noting it's an elite course. She explained a distant planet was given that name because of its endless volatile atmosphere. It was claimed to be a calm world, but it was the air was polluted, the weather took a drastic change. It continues to destroy the ozone layer. Bolts kept hammering down that power companies were able to harness the electricity, recycling up to 10 million gigawatts. The output's so powerful that the energy is being channeled to neighboring planets. The course itself is lethal to its 90-degree turns. He wasn't looking forward to it because of that annoying gimmick. But remember, misdirection. She too dreaded it was around the area where she met Black Shadow. She had a really bad feeling he would try something. Don't worry so much, Tinsel. We can win this. Together. We can't let him emerge victorious, nor harm Rodney. Better be right. What she didn't notice was his vision was becoming foggy and his head was swimming. He looked at the group for a moment until... Rick! Everybody gathered around him as he collapsed onto the couch. He couldn't respond as they attempted to shake him awake and kept calling his name. He was in a comfortable bed. His jacket was removed and hanging on a rack. The sun just rose and Jack and Tinsel were sitting by him. His eyes fluttered and he startled himself up. Oh, Jack and Jack! Rick, you're exhausted. You should sleep for a few more hours. Competition won't start until tonight, so get your rest. But I must prepare myself for Black Shadow. How could I... Lucy and the Gazelle are looking over the Dragon Bird for you, making any last-minute adjustments. Same thing with the Comet and then Rita. Falcon will meet us at his designated location by 6 p.m. sharp. Yuki and Joey are organizing their decks, putting their best monsters on the line. For once, Jack's right. You do need some sleep. He was awestruck. What did you say? You Said I'm right. Well, that's a first. Don't let it get to your head. Looking back, he murmured, You can be so dang stubborn, you know that, Wheeler? You make it sound like you're the only one fighting Doc Million. Huh? Hey, lighten up a little, would ya? You should just rely on us for now. Jack removed his grip, revealing a thin smile. Yeah, you're not alone in this, Rick. You still have me, Falcon, and the Fury Cakes on your side. If anything should go wrong, you still have us in the task force waiting for you. Oh, and there's also Haruka watching over you. Jack, Tinsel. He was so wrapped up that he almost disregarded there was someone upstairs who was looking out for him. Idiot. That made her snicker. Jack didn't seem to be much of a hassle as he was before. He became a lot more supportive since they rescued him back in Europolis. Darkness fell around the city in a fuchsia hue. Both Jack and Tinsel looked out from the balcony at the utmost floor in headquarters, and it was only almost 6. He's not used to depending on others. Doesn't even know we have saved his sorry ass many times. Can only go so far, Jack. These guys are on a completely different level. It's true we can depend on Falcon forever. We all have an expiration date. Jack! Tinsel never saw him this wired, or this anxious about anything. He was always calm, though cocky. He laid a hand on the glass casing as he sulked. Oh, help me just hinder him! How could anyone stand up against an evil organization like this alone? I'm certain this is only his way of coping it, but I'm sure that he knows he's never alone. We got him this far, didn't we? Tinsel was caught up in her own fears that he didn't notice someone marching in. Tinsel! She rose her head abruptly and saw Rick accompanied by Gomar and Shio. He looked like he was ready to hunt some bear. Let's go. Falcon is waiting. They were off to the bounty hunter's spot located near a warp gate, although from past experience he and Tinsel knew this only led to Big Blue. However, this was still the shortest way. We can't access lightning from the air, so we must take this warp gate. Follow me. The foursome obliged, and on the highway a couple of people were approaching them from the rear. They automatically suspected it was the Bloody Chain or some other street gang, but instead it was an adult Yugi riding on Cursive Dragon and Joey on his Red Eyes Black Dragon. They were so relieved since the road was clear, unlike last year. Rick and the aliens were shocked seeing the spiky-haired kid mature so fast. He explained it was all thanks to the sacred Millennium Puzzle he wore. He said that Yugi is only the modern version of the spirit that dwells within it. By the time he put it together, after receiving it from his grandpa Solomon, Yugi's soul was released and the monsters came to life. In numerous car duels, yet they had to venture into the universe of intergalactic racing, which was how they met the elusive masked man Falcon. They were involved in several missions, such as rescuing some pilots, dealing with Black Shadow's schemes, and seeing him win a few challenges. Currently, Yami is trying to put together a more personal riddle of his very own. We finally reached the gateway to Lightning with Falcon leading the pack. Came across a very familiar sight as he, Tinsel, and Duelist passed an active tower. Belonged to one of the power pellets that's capable of housing the planet's energy. Memories escaping it and saving Jody flashed into their minds. It wasn't ready to explode this time, and the areas surrounding it were destroyed. It's pretty fascinating to say the least. For Joey, there were some images of him chasing the blue falcon with a speed-sensitive bomb attached to it while riding his black dragon. Two-card specialist never stopped worrying about the demon since the night they first met him. Tinsel was sorry she never got involved in the Battle City, nor the quest for the legendary dragons, since searching for the task force was her biggest priority. Still, they forgave her. Besides, the battles they fought weren't for the faint of heart anyway. Neither was this course. It was several miles away. Despite the fatal lightning, Falcon assured the newcomers that as long as they stay close to the ground, they won't get struck. Once they got to the track, it's unlikely anyone would get electrocuted since the technicians were kind enough to absorb the storm thanks to some very tall rods conveniently located throughout. No matter how high the pilots would go, they won't get hurt as long as the tracks didn't enter the stratosphere. Task force would love to cheer them on, but they were never that foolish on being inside the arena. They were already booked, so very few of them were available. Duelists were lucky enough, and they were the only means on keeping the finalists safe. It's like deja vu, as well as for Falcon and Tinsel, their mind shifted back to the Grand Prix last year. Even the starting sights of the Black Bull, the Fire Stingray, and especially the Hellhawk. Intense rumbles of thunder and sudden flashes of lightning made the stadium even more terrifying. We must win this. We cannot let Black Shadow and his thugs have their way. Quickly, into our machines. Yugi, Joey, watch us closely from the bleachers. We will need backup. They ran to them just before the instantaneously packed by hardcore addicts. They were piling in. No one saw Black Shadow enter his machine. Rick managed to observe a conversation with Miss Killer and the champion's carbon copy. The roar of the audience was just enough to go over the harsh, deep booms. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and fans from all worlds, this is it, the final challenge here at Lightning. This will be an exhilarating competition as each one of our pilots will fight for the glory of the championship. Whoever wins may also take the title as this year's Grand Prix champion. The winner will be decided just as soon as the results are tallied for this course alone. So sit tight and root for your all-time favorite racers. They'll need all the support they can possibly get. It's game time. Winner takes all. The signal began just as soon as there was a strike directly on top of the stadium itself. We started with a couple dash plates, which the racers were clearly fighting over. It's no surprise with the Fire Stingray and the Green Panther. They had to be aware of the sharp right turn, followed by another dash. At that 90-degree angle, all machines battled it out, their spin and side attacks. Conflict was incredibly fierce, however there was no threat since there was a pit area. All the competitors had to be aware of the bold arrow signs, otherwise there was a risk on falling off upon every hairpin turn. Then another right turn and a long straightaway enabled the vehicles to be neck and neck, especially the Silver Comet and the Moon Shadow, which made a few nudges. Twin Arita remained at the rear, and there were still no signs of the ominous Black Bull. Another speed boost awaited them, and the Dragon Bird was lucky enough to take it. Then another right turn made the machines turn sharply, almost as if they were drifting. The Falcon next to the Dragon took the boost. The course narrowed. There was a jump with searchlights surrounding it to make it easier to see upon descent, following another sharp right. Machines clustered, and it was unclear who took the next boost. Doing full throttle as they approached the pit area and then met a right curve, followed by another skinny track and a longer jump. Most of the machines lifted the nozzles to have a longer leap, including Tinsel's. She was starting to think James's technique has really paid off, since it allowed her to get ahead of the other racers. Didn't seem to last, though. There was yet another speed boost, a sharp left curve, and a pit area that swerved from side to side, making the pilots bump into each other constantly as they fought over the regenerators. After a few technical left turns and another dash, they were finally reached the goal. Their boosters were activated, making the war rage as much as the endless storm. The 9 pilots have survived the first lap, but the battle had just begun. Twin Arita passed their first opponent, who deliberately slowed its pacing. Ah! It's the Bloodhawk! Yeah, but he doesn't seem to be attacking us. Why? He's only letting us pass through. Rivaling space pirates at each other's throats as soon as their machines caught up. They were acting like a couple of rumblefish as they fought one another. Both the Stingray and the Panther clashed together. I need to win this race because I have to beat Falcon. To battle, buddy. You gotta deal with me. Since when I was your old buddy? You always sabotage my bounties no matter where I go. I don't sabotage your bounties, I destroy them. That's the fun part. No wonder you sing Dynamo Guster. You really think Lisa would appreciate someone who's so dull? who never enjoys life and isn't passionate on what he does. I'd be bored out of my mind. How dare you go behind my back at the Corn Moon while we both captured Lord Kimbo? I was the best. I was the one who helped you in your time of need. You can't do anything right by yourself. You can barely win against Falcon, and you lost to him, a woman and a dog recently. What kind of thief are you exactly? I forgot. God damn you, Guster!
Both machines broke down from their rant. They were too busy fighting each other when winning the race. Some things Rick, Falcon, and the others shouldn't be involved with. Red hue surrounded the reckless Bloodhawk as it spun at the speed of sound. Blood Falcon was closing in on his opponents. His target were the Fear Cakes. They tried to misguide us as much as possible and outmaneuver and confuse the madman. Bloodfire was too fast and powerful for them. Not even the enhancements from the Big Fang weren't enough for the Dark Reactor might. The duo-driven device was split in two and smithereens flew and spun across the course. Oh no! Gomar! Shio! You'll pay for this, you brutal, power-hungry bastard! Booster! Fire! She yanked the stick back as far as it could. Her comet was engulfed in a turquoise flare. She activated it just before the hawk caught up. Like two Beyblades, they hit and bounced off each other. In a slight curve, they leaned in and tried to push the other person off. Flashbacks from yesteryear's race were re-entering Tinsel's mind. She was in Mute City. And if you'd seen the crossover, Falcon's followers, you would know. Clone was ruthless as it bashed into the comet. It was running low on energy as power was draining rapidly from the Hawk's brutality. Its body was 1 level stronger. She eventually saw a sharp right turn, then she shifted back to the present. Being her grip was a few levels higher than his, while her other stats remained the same as the foe's craft, it was easy for her. When they were still accelerating, she slammed on the brakes, and the result caused the Hawk to fall through the guardrails. Comet returned to normal, and she took a deep sigh of relief. But the moon shadow was close behind, and another machine made her cringe. The Black Bull showed up on the last lap in all sinister glory. Falcon was the first to lay eyes on his old nemesis, and he warned his partner he was coming. Rick wasn't that intimidated about it, when he realized the machine wasn't as destructive as everyone feared it to be. He had some intel before the race, but it was heavy, just as tough, and tons of titanium alloy. The Black Bull seems to have a decent cornering and is very strong, but he's really slow. Apparently I'd underestimated you, but soon you'll be playing the fool, Wheeler. If I can't win the race, I might as well destroy everyone and everything. I'm here to eliminate any obstacle in my way and take the championship. And I do mean anything. Victory shall be mine. Black fire! Silver Comet and the Moon Shadow saw the violet spark closing fast. He was gaining up on the two leaders, putting the captain at unease. Dragonbird was behind the Blue Falcon, and he sustained some damage first as they immediately used their own booster fires. Black Shadow was astonished. You both withstood my attack. What's the matter? Used up all your trump cards? Without that speed booster, the Dragonbird and the Blue Falcon are still on top. The Emperor of Brutality just gleamed at him. Falcon just showed a frightening expression. Rick, don't get so brash. Remember what I said about using two black fire? Oh, no way! But how? What? What's happening? Shouldn't a reactor might be used one per race? Rick! Falcon! Look out! Tinsel and Furycake saw it happen again. Falcon was right after all. He warned him this would happen. Oh, Rick! The extraterrestrial known as the Commissioner was also watching the race. The race must be stopped. We have to save the pilots. This is highly unorthodox. So far, the bull was closing in more and more on the dragon, and the blue falcon escaped as the racer deliberately went off course. Falcon Flare was there waiting for him. He pleaded Rick to jump, but he was pretty stubborn, since he wanted to finish the race. As a result, he was hit by the second Blackfire in an explosion. The villain mentioned his bull had 2 reactor mites installed within each of his indestructible horns, hence 2 chances for the Blackfire. They reached across the finish line, but the collision caused the dragon bird to flip and collide onto the course, rendering Rick unconscious. Everyone watching had a loss for words and were completely frozen in fear, even Mr. Zero. This was just horrid. On how a single trusted pilot could cause that much killing and destruction. It's unclear who won. Did Rick Wheeler and the Dragon Bird survive? The Devil showed absolutely no remorse as the Black Bull shot 4 sensors into the air while the storm was still raging. They formed a cube which seemed like a rip in the sky. The machine rose, ejected a pair of grappling hooks, and carried the Dragon Bird and the unconscious pilot aloft. Ah! They're gone! What's gotten into these 2? Tinsel, the Huckminers, the duelists, and even those within the task force were so distraught. She and the aliens were caught off guard. Tinsel, Steelus, I finally have my chance to murder you. Although you should be glad that Wheeler would still be alive. Now it all made sense. Clearly Dark Million planned this right from the start. What are you? It's time to pay back all the meddling you caused us and your futile attempts to reunite the task force. You hadn't succeeded since Jody and Dr. Stewart are still within our power, and soon Rodney. Say hello to Baba, Biorex, and Zoda for us, you good-for-nothing skank! She was shaking from head to feet. Their lives were coming to a sudden end all around them. Just then there was a shot, and the bullet ricocheted off the moon shadow. Falcon Flare soared over the scrimmage, and Luna fired a few attempts. They did nothing, and the bounty hunter aimed his own nozzles directly at her. She withdrew her weapon and just smiled. Nice try, Falcon. I'll eventually plot my revenge on you. But right now I must meet Lord Shadow where he's holding our prodigal son. He shall become one of us again very shortly. We will gladly see this through. I will finish you all after that. Ha 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 ha! No! She screamed, and tears burst in her eyes. She sunk on all fours. Thunder clapped as the weather was also in turmoil. This was the thing she terrified the most. Were she and Falcon too late? Dark, quiet, spacious chamber, Rick woke up, and he noticed in some large golden spider web. His arms were raised and cuffed above his sore body. Where am I? So, you're awake. It'd be less painful if you were still asleep. Jody and Stewart were close to each side. Welcome back, Rick. I'm sure you are acquainted with this place by now. I remember it very well. I should have known you would bring me back here. What do you want? Why don't you ask your associates then? They were the ones who helped me apprehend you. Ha ha ha! Jody? Doctor? Yes. Yes, Wheeler. It is us. Long time no see. Ugh, if you're here to kill me, then you've done one hell of a job. Oh no, that's where you are wrong. We actually want you to join us again. We've been waiting for this for the past several weeks, Rick. You do realize that Black Shadow is sparing your life for a reason. Huh? Be grateful you aren't put on probation for all the orders you have broken, Wheeler. You may be a traitor, but we are willing to give you a second chance. Become one of us as a vital part of Dark Million. Your lover will be pleased. No! No way in hell! I won't be recruited as your loyal subject! Never again! I've been thinking on ways on dealing with you, Rick Wheeler. Our talented colleagues like the Skull, Miss Killer, and Zoda gave me the perfect plan to do so. It was experimental, but since the Dark Solution worked temporarily on Tinsel, that was when we strived. She remembered the hovercraft tub at Tortoise 3. So, I began my search for the 6 reactor mites. I'd found all 3 containing darkness. By the time you were vulnerable, we made our move upon the task force. By exposure, they were as weak as a kittens in a litter. After 150 years in his resurrection, he then realized that Rick was a powerful force to be reckoned with, to tip the scales against Captain Falcon. The time has come. Not in our dreams, of course. I had made a reversal for the effects of the agent. Since it was able to enhance neurological functions, it would be merely impossible. Lord Shadow himself has the right idea. The brain is 77% water, making it the flawless method for him to manipulate the minds of his victims. Not to mention, he used the dark reactor mites while creating it. Oh, and at that time you came to terms of the death of your loved one, Haruka. With an empty vessel and no spirit to inherit, it was easy to control. You two will be reunited as you are both shrouded in darkness. One happy couple. So that's what this is all about. Huh? Don't want to hurt you, Jody, but if I have to kill Black Shadow and avenge Haruka's death, I will. I assure you, you won't have to. Haven't you forgotten our bond, Rick? Don't bother. We don't have time to play with you. My son has already found his place. We will be a family no longer torn by grief like father like son, as you would with her. Black Shadow's body illuminated. Then he released a binding energy rope of sorts that entangled Rick in. You, the task force, and the remaining reactor mites will soon be mine once more. When they are, my precious dream will be realized. Use the kinesis to lift the hapless racer and throw him into another tank. It was empty and the hatch sealed shut. Ah! 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 Black Shadow! You won't get away with this! It began to fill up. The strangest thing was he could still breathe despite it being difficult from his pounding heart. What is this? Rick, calm yourself. This will be over shortly. No harm will befall you. You are with us now. Somehow he felt himself being soothed by his words. Then again, when was the high mind ever wrong? He started to get more and more placid. You'll be put into a deep sleep while your mind will be wiped clean, making you the perfect pawn without any resistance, never to remember the life you lost. I believe this is what you truly desire, isn't it? You were born with a traumatic, inescapable past, having to bear so much pain and sacrifice of own against such a dark fate. You've walked a hard path, just as I did. His Black Shadow's voice became deeper and it softened while he spoke in a sort of rhythmic tone. Lean back and cleanse your mind. Leave this all to us now. Relax, Rick. Relax. Relax. Relax for a while and serve us. The influence was successful as Rick's heavy body and mind began to slip away, while his pupils enlarged. He began closing his eyes. His head dropped and his eyelids moved rapidly. Rick! Who's there? Rick! Yet he was very weak. He didn't realize it belonged to Falcon. You can be so dang stubborn, you know that, Wheeler? You should just rely on us for now. We wanted you to know, if you work together, you can accomplish anything. You don't win when you're lucky. You win when you're bold. He had glimpses on the faces of Leon shaking his hand, then Lucy, Rodney, Beastman, EAD, Clank, Gazelle, Drac, Bert, and even... You're the only one who can do this, Rick. Do not let your heart be tainted again. Just then his fists clenched. His body was glowing with a shade of cinnabar, then disappearing subsequently. Come back to us. Don't give up. I believe in you. What? How can this be? Jody and Stewart were at a loss for words. Miss Killer's jaw dropped and she stepped back a few inches. They heard him scream at the top of his lungs and burst out of the tank, spewing the liquid everywhere. His body was brightening more as he was utilizing energy from his reactor might. It was almost like a Super Saiyan. Black Shadow used indigo volatile energy from his dark might. He released it and the onslaught covered the victim's body. Yet somehow Rick, through his rage, was more powerful when he deflected it. It was enough to blind the entire chamber, and also burn away some of the demon's face. He held it in brutal agony, almost as if it was covered with corrosive acid. Soon the aura dissipated, and after several deep breaths, Dragon Bird! As if it was anthropomorphic, it responded instantly, appearing right next to him, while his enemies were still immobilized. He glanced at the remaining tank, punched around it until the lid opened and the fluid spilled out. He grabbed and laid him over the shoulder. Then he was about to approach his car. Rick! Rick! A male and a female yelled for him in the distance. Their machines emerged as they collided with a bunch of death soldiers. The Blue Falcon and the Silver Comet's pilots urged him to hop in. Let's go, Rick! Can you keep up? No problem. Booster fire! All three vehicles crashed through a wall within the violet halls. They floated into the voids of deep space. Thankfully, they had G diffusers, as it was their only means of survival. After a few comforting seconds, they were caught by a tractor beam. Tinsel unleashed her ice jets, freezing the bright amethyst hue. Then the bounty hunter snapped his finger, indicating the Falcon flyer to catch them in its maw. By the time they escaped, Black Shadow rose while still covering the injured side of his face. They also recovered and surveyed the damage. My son, he has escaped. I'm afraid we may have underestimated Wheeler. As with Falcon and Tinsel. Lord Shadow? Indeed, we may have miscalculated him. He faced his troops in earnest, with a grimace. Rick's an issue. As long as he has his friends by his stead, I believe it would be no match for him. Unless... Yes, I see your plan. We must rid of his supporters first and foremost. We will start with the one he holds the most dear. Then it would be a cinch from there. Falcon will be next, but we have to remain cautious. Then the reactor mites will be ours for the taking. And lastly, so would Rick. We must also use some tactical force against his friends in the task force, and perhaps the commission. The device should be almost ready, isn't it, Lord Shadow? Soon enough. Jody, Doctor, follow Miss Killer's lead. We have some persuasion to accomplish here. Yes, Lord Shadow. Back on Earth, base received a signal. Central Chamber picked it up. Jack? Clank? Can anyone hear me? Everyone looked up and cheered. They were so glad it made it out in one piece. I'm coming home. We have some planning to do. Our main objective now is to fight back against Black Shadow and rescue the Doctor and the Captain. I have Tinsel, Falcon, and Rodney with me. Stand by for re-entry. Everyone cheered and cried out in glee. Thank you, everyone. Tinsel sat beside him on the couch while Falcon was watching. The couple looked in each other's eyes before they embraced. It's all right, Tinsel. All right. I was so worried sick about you. I never thought you'd still be alive, or even yourself again. I actually wouldn't have made it if it wasn't for you. Huh? You and Falcon saved me, Tinsel. You were a light in the darkness. You gave me the strength I needed to resist Black Shadow and help me save Rodney. I saw my friends appear before me, then Haruka, then you. I know now that I'm no longer alone when facing Dark Million. You've all been there for me, and I will do the same. We're always here for you, Rick. Wait, what about the championship? Who won the race? Who won the Grand Prix? That I don't know. I can't tell who actually won in Lightning. Either me or Black Shadow. I don't know. We'll be approaching the Earth's atmosphere. Sit tight. Once they did, they entered the base. Gomar, Shio, Yugi, and Joey immersed with the crowd. The trio were greeted by everyone, receiving some tight squeezes and a few pecks from Lucy and Leon. When they finally gave them some leg room, Rick was all smiles. Bert offered the usual to him. It's been tough on you, hasn't it? Enjoy. I have so much to tell all of you. I don't even know where to start. Why don't you start from the beginning, after the race? Okay. Alright, not gonna lie, this was based off of Lap 47 from the Japanese anime known as Fate. He deals with that Black Shadow personally. The rest will have to be brought up later. Blah, blah, blah. There were some references to other lightning courses. No wonder Ephraim 225 lost it, since Black Shadow and the other racers always made it so unforgiving, as did the hazards. So, the question remains, who won the finals and the championship? Why is it a split victory? Could it be Rick or Falcon that took the winner's circle overall? Did Black Shadow prevail as he collided into the Dragon Bird? Even I'm not sure. That may be revealed once the fic is done, and I don't think it'll be... Well, at the time, I didn't know it was going to be over by Christmas. Well, see you all next time, guys. Until then, this is the Ecron Writers signing out. Goodbye, everybody. Hold on.